Hello everyone, this is Cliff Ford, and I'm going to be doing the third part to the last three members of the Straw Hat Crew video I've been doing. Part 1 has been focusing on Carrot, Part 2 was Yamato, and now Part 3 will be mainly with Vivi. Now, you know, when I first started doing One Piece, I started with the 4 Kids dub back in the day. I didn't really I didn't really have internet or stuff like that, or was able to like read mangas as much of the time then. So I was familiar with Vivi, and most of the Starlight Crew back when the 4 Kids dub came in, and she was one of my favorite characters then. Back then when I was watching the 4 Kids dub, um, I almost thought she really was a member. So, but even with Vivi, like even with Vivi being revealed that she is an honorary member, it still leaves a lot of questions for a lot of people asking or wondering or even wanting her to actually come back. And I feel like she would, and I feel like she will. All right, and that's probably a better thing to say is like I feel like she will, but it does leave a lot of questions open on if that will really if that's really going to happen, and I really hope it does. I really do. So let's begin. So Vivi, we already know so many dynamics with Vivi and the crew. Luffy and the gang is Luffy and the gang, when they first met Vivi, she didn't really act like she wasn't like really like a real enemy to them, but she was like she was like a double agent, Miss Wednesday and so she was basically she was trying to uh basically, she was trying to overthrow Crocodile, who had taken over her kingdom. So she was basically being like a double agent in like the Baroque works, and So she basically had to act like an enemy to people when she came across them, in terms of like trying to keep her identity secret from Crocodile and stuff. Um, but when Luffy and gang meet her, and they find out, and they make good friends with her and stuff like that, they end up helping her out, and they manage to help. Luffy manages to help her, and well, the entire Strike crew who managed to help her defeat Crocodile and get her kingdom back. Now, for long times of periods, um, when the Straw Hats when Vivi met the Straw Hats, or like, well, when she had to say goodbye to them, she basically had asked them personally, if we ever meet again, will you take me as a friend? And I feel like that is a good sign that Oda is saying, don't give up hope just yet. Vivi will come back. So I think the real question is now is, well, not really a question, but it really comes down to just saying like, we just gotta wait. How long? Hard to say. Just wait. So now, with the current circumstances on Vivi, um, Vivi's situation is very well, not similar to Sabo, and I'm not trying to say like it's similar in terms of like development or backstory. No, I'm basically like referring to like the report incident that we got at the end of the reverie, where Vivi had met with Shirahoshi and Rebecca and made good friends with them at the last reverie, when we got an incident report on what had happened, um, two main figures that had good relationship with Luffy, was Vivi and Sabo, and that's basically what I'm referring to in that situation. Now, Um, now we don't actually know. We don't really get an inside detail on what actually occurred after the reverie had ended, but it had something to do with Vivi, and it had something to do with Alabasta Kingdom. Unfortunately, there are a lot of theories and suggestions going around. We do we don't actually know it down specifically, but we do know that when the revelry has started, the Gorosei had mentioned that Cobra had requested an audience with the Gorosei, and they had mentioned in that the Nefertari family, Vivi's family, um, is one of the 20 kingdoms that founded the world government. But they chose to remain in their homelands instead of joining all the others, and now they're basically considered traitors. So you know, one big theory and possibility out there is because they were traitors, um, that the Alabasta Kingdom was was basically nuked by the world government, or cleansed because during when the Gorosei were having their conversations, we come in contact with Imu Sama. Now we don't get to see Imu's face, but you know, basically when they asked what they basically asked him what part of the world needed to be cleansed or what, and he holds up a picture of Vivi, and so we're not getting a full idea what goes on here. Like it could be possible that the Alabasta King was destroyed, and maybe Vivi is held prisoner. I'm led to believe that personally. I do believe that Vivi is alive. For all we know, she could be held prisoner inside um, in Mary Joala, or not Mary Jo. I am sorry if I'm butchering these words. I am really sorry. Um, but to put it simple, I believe she's probably being held captive, and that is that is one good theory and reason why I believe that as soon as the Straw Hats leave Wano, their next and stuff off is going to be a rescue mission to save Vivi. Now, I can't actually guarantee that 100%, but I have no doubt in my mind, and I don't think anyone has any doubts in their mind on this at all, that, once Luffy and his crew get a hold of the information and they hear about what happened, then they're not going to stand for this. Like I just can't see Luffy just reading the message and like just they'll be fine, don't worry about it. Let's just move on. I got my own things to do. They can take care of themselves. Not my problem. I just can't see Luffy doing that. I can't see any of the Straw Hats doing that, especially those who had great connections with Vivi. Now I know with some characters like, well, I mean, I guess Robin in a way could, but for characters like Frankie, Brooke, Jinbei, or even Karen Yamato, if they actually join the crew. But this is personal for like Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Usopp, and Chopper, and Robin to extent, but mostly the first five. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, and Chopper. Yeah, the first five I mentioned. It's mostly important for them. So you know that's why I believe it would be a good a point in this up off. So now, how this information comes to them is hard to say. There could probably be plenty of reasons why, but to put it simple, I do believe that after Wano, we will get a rescue mission. It doesn't necessarily have to be as. I'm not saying the arc has to be as long as Wano, no, but I do feel like that would be important. Um, Now, um, you know, the real question and stuff, and that's actually why I believe that would be important, because, like, you know, with the circumstances going on Luffy and his crew, like, if it was just Luffy and his crew alone and going to fight Kaido and his team, they would have been wiped. They would have been completely wiped. All right. if it hadn't been for so much backup up and so much help for the Straw Hat crew to help take down Kaido, they never would have succeeded. That's why I feel like it would be important for Luffy to maybe consider a few extra crew members. Maybe not like thousands or millions. No, nothing like that. But it would be pretty smart if he had some extra help. Like if there were like, well, not extra help for him in fighting opponents. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just basically referring to it. There were more members of the crew to help out in terms of combat for the way Oda is setting up these arcs and stuff off. So, and I feel like that would be important. Now, specifically, you know, Vivi, she has a very she she's a very good character in her own rights and stuff off, and she's proven that she would be willing to sell with the Straw crew. That even you know even if she didn't, even if Alabasta like was like had lost or like was gone before the events beforehand, Vivi really wouldn't have any problems selling with the Straw crew, even if that was to taint her reputation and to be and basically have the world government put a bounty on her head. Um, I feel like nothing of that standard even bothered Vivi, but because of what Crocodile had did to her kingdom, she felt like it was more important to try and save her kingdom, and that's a very understandable reason. I respect her decision for that. That was a very honorable decision, and most people agree. Now, one theory and suggestion I do believe is that now this isn't actually confirmed yet, and I have no evidence to back this up. I have no evidence to back this up. I really don't. Okay, but I kind of suggest and have a theory that Vivi will end up with the Yuki Yuki no Mi, basically the snow fruit. Now, there were a lot of theories and suggestions on who will get it. Um, when Monet had died on Punk Hazard, her fruit would have been reincarnated. Now, one theory suggested that going around is that the fruit was reincarnated on one of Nami's Mikan trees, and that Nami was going to eat the fruit. Another possible theory was carrot. And while those were good suggestions, I don't feel like they would not really work in terms of like I would hate it, but more of like I feel like it wouldn't be necessary. Because with Nami, she's so adapted to using her climate tact, and I feel like that's most important for her in general. So, and with Carrot, she's got the Sulong on, which can only come in contact at full moons and nights. But is it hard to necessarily say that after Wano Carrot sells with the Straw crew, there's never going to be another Sulong transformation again? No doubt. Well, not. I'm sorry. I don't mean like no doubt in my. I'm sorry. I don't mean no doubt in my mind that there won't be another Sulong transformation. I mean, I have no doubt that there will be another one, and that's completely obvious. But you see, she also just like all minks are adapted to the electro combat that they have. Carrot is already she's not as good par on levels of like Zoro, Sanji, or Luffy in terms of like real combat, but she has had experience in fighting beforehand. So in reality, does Carrot actually even need the Yuki Yuki no Mi? No, not really. I mean, she's got her own set of abilities. She's got her own fighting rights and stuff like that. I mean, giving her the Yuki Yuki no Mi wouldn't really give her an overpowering ability. Like, it wouldn't exactly make her overpowering, but it wouldn't exactly benefit to anything at all. Matter of fact, it would just lead to a big fan suggestion of her being like a snow bunny. And while that is a very considerate thing and a good possibility, I feel like it wouldn't work. But I mean, heck, if Oda chooses to do that, like if he does, it would not bother me at all. Like, I mean, if Oda wanted Carrot to have the Yuki Noki no Mi, it would not bother me at all. But I'm going to more or less suggest Vivi, because I'm going to think it could be possible that, just like in the situation with Boa Hancock, and her sisters and how they attain the devil fruit abilities, I feel like a similar situation can happen with Vivi. Now, if this is possible, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Yuki Yuki no Mi. All right, it could be possible that there will be another fruit that we haven't seen yet. It could be maybe an old one that we have seen before. We just didn't realize that it was reincarnated, or or it can be a completely new possibility. Any ideas are out there suggested. Sorry. So, um, you know, now one thing I want to mention is that, um, in the last two videos I made with uh, Kara and Yamato, I had mentioned this both theory, and where I mentioned that I believe that with the Sunny and Mary and during the Viva cards at positions at 11 and 12 and Vivi at 13, um, I believe that the 11 and 12 were to basically signal that there will be two females joining before Vivi returns, and that's why I believed Kira and Yamato to represent those positions. Now, I mentioned before that I knew that was a complete stretch, and I had no real evidence to back it up. It was just something that I wanted to believe in for my own rights. Okay, now with Vivi on her Viva card, she was placed at 13, and we were given we were basically given some numbers on what would be Vivi's neural number be, and we were given like 5.5 and 13. Now, it's the 5.5 I really want to discuss, and I have two possibilities on what 5.5 could actually mean. It's hard to actually determine if this is correct or if this will be, but these are my two possibilities. Possibility, I'll go with the first one and I'll explain the second one. So, possibility number one of 5.5 is that, if we look at Vivi, if we look at the circumstances on when Vivi first appeared, let's count. Um, so, so we have Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji. And right after those five is when we met Vivi, right? Because we met Vivi before we actually met Chopper, right? So even though Vivi wasn't an official member of the crew, and Chopper is considered a sixth member, but we did meet Vivi after those five. Now, let's look at this again through another point and ask Usopp. And so now we're going to count five after with five for Chopper first, and then going down to the next one. So now we have Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, and Jinbei. All right, and then if that's the case, then that is five for Vivi. If that's the case, and going by that logic, then if Vivi is to return after Jinbei, then that means we would have Vivi would be the 11th crew member. Well, I mean, if we're counting with if we're not counting Luffy, then it would just be Zoro, uh, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, Jinbei, and then Vivi. If that's the case, then it really would be 10 members plus Luffy, making 11 members altogether, and that could, that could actually lead into when Luffy said before that he only wanted 10 crew members, but that also leaves a lot of questions open, because like if that's the case, then it almost seemed like Luffy actually predicted specifically, that circumstances of these characters specifically. But but like I had mentioned before, we're never given an exact detail or an explanation on why Luffy really only wants 10 members. Like, why specifically 10? Like, why does he need 10? Now, you know, now if that's the case, Ace, and going by that logic, then that means Yamato and Carrot will not join the crew. But, and truth be told, it could be possible that they won't. But I would like them to join the crew. And so that's why I have my next suggestion on what the 5.5 means. Alright, so like I mentioned before, Vivi was introduced after Sanji. So that's 5 Straw Hats right there. But 5.5, I think, and basically what I'm referring to in the second part is that I basically think it's referring to is that there will be 5 Straw Hats. There will be 5 female Straw Hats on the crew altogether. And if that's the case, then we have Nami, Robin, Carrot, Yamato, and Vivi. 5 female Straw Hats. And now that's a good, like, it's a stretch, and there's really no evidence to back it up. But it's not necessarily a bad idea. Yeah, and would it be disappointing? No, not at all. And a lot of people are wanting more females on the crew, and I'm one of the many people who would like to see more females on the crew. But I'm also willing to let Oda decide his own stories. So I mean, heck, even if Oda was to add another male character, I mean, would I feel like we're getting too many males? Of course. But would I start being disappointed in the story and not reading anymore or not watching the anime anymore? No, not at all. I would still find the story to be quite good. And now, with the circumstances and going on, with if let's say for instance, if Vivi does get the Yuki no Mi, would this put her over the top in order to better fight comebacks with like Luffy or even someone who knows hockey? Probably not at all. But with the Yuki no Mi, it might help her in more defensive measures or in combat measures, more so than what her peacock slashers were capable of, unless she learned hockey during the time and she learned some new tricks. But in retrospect, I feel like if Vivi was to join the crew, then she might need a little bit of a better combat situation. Now, it's really hard to say if any of that will come into play, but it's not really a bad idea, and it's not really a complete great idea at all, or at least in the way I see it. Now, with Vivi, it does now. Well, I mentioned before that Carrot, and a lot of people believe Carrot would be great for the Lookout. I mentioned Yamato as the chronicler, someone who chronicles the events of like the final journey of the Straw Hat crew into a logbook and stuff like that. I've read some suggestions on Vivi, and one suggestion I've heard and some things I read is that Vivi would be like a diplomat, or basically she'll be like a negotiator for the Straw Hat crew, and this could be a possibility of working, and basically from how I'm understanding it from other people and stuff and how they're describing it is because with the Straw Hat crew now having a Straw Hat Grand Fleet, I feel like with the way Vivi has been set up in terms of like helping her kingdom Alabasta to fight it back against Crocodile them, and to like really really benefit from what she's good at and her knowledge of being a princess and everything thing that she's training for and stuff like that. A lot of people are mentioning that she would be good as a negotiator for the Straw Crew to help maybe convince other people to help join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, or maybe even be like a negotiator to helping other kingdoms or other lands to you know to to help Luffy and his team to not just consider them as real threats, but to help them to understand is that Luffy um, is here to help you and not here to offend you or to hurt you. Um, Now, in most cases, do we really need this specifically? And does Vivi really even need a position at all? Not really. Not really at all, because like even when they had left the Straw Hat Crew and they had all left, um, you know, they basically gave their promise is that they would take her as a friend, and I feel like with that set in mind uh with that set in mind of like being chosen as a friend, I think it also basically confirms is that you know if you sail with us, you don't really need to prove anything to us, but and stuff. And I feel like with if this really does go down to what a lot of people are believing on what happens with the Alabasta Kingdom and Vivi, I feel like Vivi's dream would would be to um it would be more like to avenge her kingdom, right? I feel like her dream would be to to figure out what the world government is hiding and to avenge her father and her kingdom. But I think most important of all, I feel like it would be important for her to avenge her father and stuff. So there are a lot of roadblocks in the way, and so um and a lot of suggestions are going on. So um this is this is basically all I want to discuss right here. This is Yeah, so that's basically all I want to discuss right there. By the way, there was something I forgot to mention on the Yamato video. I was going to just make I was going to make another video, a small video, sort of explaining what I forgot to mention, but for but seriously, for the love of me, I totally forgot what I was going to say, and even to this moment right now, I still can't remember what I was specifically going to say on about Yamato. Yeah, so yeah, I just don't remember what it was. I know it was something important. I was going to mention it, but I totally forgot about it, and I just can't remember. Um, but yeah, that's all I really want to discuss on VV. So this will conclude the three-part on the last three members of the Straw Hat Crew with Carrot, Yamato, and Vivi. If you like the video, like the video. Yeah, so like the video if you like the video.